Hello everyone. So let's start with our science and technology, biotechnology part 2. I hope everybody might have gone through the biotechnology part 1, where we have discussed the basic concept of biotechnology, how it is working, and we have discussed some of the applications of the biotechnology in that lecture. In this lecture also, we will be discussing some of the very important applications of the biotechnology and some of the policy initiative that government has taken in order to promote the biotechnologies throughout our country. Okay, so we all know that there are a lot of works that is going in the field of biotechnology, and I hope you might have heard about various things also if you are following all the current affairs properly. And today we will be discussing especially regarding some of the very important application and the use of biotechnology which is going on. And this is going to be our the second part of the biotechnology. So we have done one part, and part number two that is going to be discussed today. So let's start. So since we have already covered the basic concept in my previous lecture, in this lecture we will be going with our application part of the biotechnology. Okay, so science and technology, biotechnology part 2. Okay, so we will be discussing the concept of stem cells, and these are also called as nature master builder. Okay, so that why the name has been given is that because these are called as common cell. Okay, these are called as common cells. Okay, so I will be telling you like why they are called as common cells and why they are called as nature master builder. So let's start with our discussion on stem cells. First of all, stem cells are also called are the body Swiss army knife. Okay, that is a name that has been given because they have a two very important abilities. Two very important abilities is there, and because of this ability these stem cells are being utilized for the tissue repair and regeneration. Okay, so they have a dual capacity. First capacity is they are able to renew themselves. Okay, and renew and differentiate into specialized cells. That means they can get converted into various specialized cell. So this obviously make them a much more diverse and indispensable for growth and healing process. Okay, that means you will have a common cells, and if you require my blood cells should improve, so you will be utilizing these stem cells, and these stem cells will get converted into your blood cell based on your processes. Okay, so we have two type like embryonic versus adult M cells are there. So first of all we will be discussing the embryonic stem cells. Okay, after that we will be discussing the stem cell. So there is a very important difference between the embryonic stem cells and the adult stem cells, right? So embryonic stem cells are the key to the body blueprint. Okay, so they can differentiate into any cells type, and because of that they become much more useful in the therapeutic possibilities. Okay, that means they can differentiate into any cell type, they can get converted into any cell type. Okay, and these embryonic stem cells can be cultivated very easily. Okay, relatively easily, if you provide in like if you're providing a very important a very proper laboratory setting, if you're providing, and if you have all the things that is being required in order to cultivate, also automatically you will see that it is very easy to cultivate these embryonic stem cells. Okay, but there are certain controversies that are there. Normally whenever we are talking about the stem cells, obviously whenever we are trying to change the body process or cells process or any lifestyle process we are trying to change, obviously people raises the ethical concerns on that. Okay, so that is why there are still at the experimental stages. Only few countries of the world are there which are utilizing that, and right now what is happening is that if you have a newborn baby, so what they do is they ask the parent that can we save the stem cells of your child, like if in future something happens to your child, we can utilize these stem cells of the child in order to regenerate various type of body parts or anything like that. Okay, So this is again a totally a new setting that is coming into the place where during the childbirth only they try to extract the stem cells from the body. Okay, and they will be stored at a various important cell center where they will be paying some charges for storing that stem cells over there. Okay, so this stem cells therapy is a very important therapy, but there are a lot of ethical concerns are there. Because of that, the widespread uses is still restricted, and still government has to come out with some of the regulatory oversight also. Okay, so people say that it is very important for treating the brain diseases, Parkinson disease, spinal cord disease, and various lot of diseases are there. Okay, so this is embryonic. Then we have a adult stem cells. Okay, these are tissue specific differentiations are there. Okay, so unlike these embryonic stem cells, adult stem cells are typically limited to differentiating into cell types. Okay, they are just focusing on the differentiated cell types. Okay, that means they have much more specialized work. Okay, they have much more specialized work. And like what we call it as, like in the embryonic stem cells, they will be having a body blueprint. Okay, so you will be cultivating that part and they will be getting converted into any type of that. Okay, but in the tissue specific differentiation, you will be having cell type which is specifically focusing on certain area. Okay, which is specially focusing on differentiating into the cell type, right? So there is like if you are focusing on a very specific task. Okay, like where the tissue is there, we want much more specialized work. Okay, so obviously whenever we need some specialized cell, okay, these adult stem cells, then there is a challenge in isolation. It is difficult to take out that. Okay, because these adult stem cells are scarce in mature tissue. Like once your body becomes mature, okay, once your body becomes mature, you achieve adulthood, these adult stem cells will become lesser and lesser. So it is becoming very difficult to isolate these stem cells from the body and to multiply them, okay, for the therapeutic use. Okay, so they have a they have a very deep limitation under that. But still, obviously, since these are yet another type of stem cell processes, so this can helpful in tissue regeneration and repair. Okay, like if you have a issue with the heart, if you have arthritis or any other thing is there, we have a bone marrow transplantation people do. So you, if you have a stem cells which can regenerate your bone marrow, right? So you can again the transplant like hematopoietic stem cells transplantation you can do, so that your blood disorder cancers can be treated. Okay, so these are focusing on the specialized area, right? They are focusing on the specialized area. And yeah, obviously your embryonic stem cells and adult stem cells are two different things, which will be whatever is required for your body. That depends on the ages and on the and based on the type of lifestyle that you are following. At the same time, what is your age category, mature or whether you are a child right now. So based on that, it is all dependent. Okay, so here I can show you, if you see, these are called as common stem cells. Okay, you can convert these stem cells and make them into stem cells. You can make them into neuron cell, you can convert them into epithelial, you can convert them into red blood cell, you can convert them into fat cell with laboratory processes. Okay, wherever you are finding, like if you have problem with cardiac muscle, okay, so you will try to convert these stem cells which will strengthen your cardiac cells. So these cells will be generating the cardiac cells. Okay, so this is how the stem cells work. Okay, so that is why they try to extract these stem cells during your childhood or during the term or during the birth, okay, embryonic, so that in the future if you have any kind of problem that is coming related to it, these stem cells will be utilized for various type of treatment purposes. Okay, so they have a lot of like lot of issues are there, a lot of uses are there. Like if you wanted to treat your baldness, if you wanted to treat your blindness, deafness, or mitochondrial infiltration, muscular dystrophy, diabetes. Okay, like if your pancreas cells are not working, Okay, if your pancreas cells are not working, then what you will do, you will try to convert your stem cells into the pancreatic cells with the help of laboratory cells. So this will help in regeneration of your pancreas, and then again the problem of diabetes will be cured. Okay, so this is how this concept of stem cell work. Okay, wound healing, bone marrow transplant. Okay, a lot of diseases are there, mostly most of the diseases are there which can be cured with the help of stem cells, right? Now here, this is the process that people utilize, like here is a body, they will do the biopsy and they extract the stem cells from there. Okay, then stem cells will be utilized, and if you have any problem either in brain cell, muscle cell, fat cell, insulin, liver, this is just an example. Okay, this is just an example. Okay, you can convert your stem cells into various type of cell with the help of a reprogramming that will be done in the laboratory. Okay, you can do the cell therapy, you can helpful in drug testing, and all these things will be utilized, especially focusing on the stem cells. Okay, so this is how the whole process will work. Okay, now we are moving towards the next topic regarding the GM crops, that is genetically modified crops. Okay, we all know that normally since 100 years back we were having traditional food, traditional seeds, and traditional way of agriculture. Okay, but during that time our science and technology also has not developed that much, right? But slowly within a span of 100 years we have seen a exponential growth. Okay, we have seen a exponential growth of the science and technology, and since the population is rising and land is limited, so there is a need to feed this population. There is a need to feed this population sufficiently. So from the same land we cannot grow more crops, so that is why there is a need for science and technology use in the field of agriculture. Okay, that is why we will be able to produce more and more product. That means we will be able to increase the productivity of the field. That means if we have a 1 acre of land that was producing around 100 kg of rice, but from now 1 acre, now we have to produce around 300 kg of rice. So why the 3 times? Why? How we are going to increase? Because with the help of science and technology tool, with improved variety of seed and also converted seeds. Okay, we know that we are focusing, having a problem of nutritional deficiency. Okay, nutritional deficiency. Okay, so this nutritional deficiencies can be solved by fortifying the seed and the crops with the help of vitamins and mineral, which when supplied to the various places will provide various type of nutrition. Because if you wanted a balanced diet, right, people say that if you wanted a balanced diet, you need to have proper cereals, you need to have proper fruits, you need to have proper vegetables and various type of drinks, juices, and you all have to need all these things. But what is the problem is that because of the poverty, most of the people of the world cannot afford these things. Okay, so government is planning that, like if we have a rice and if we are a wheat, government is providing all these things from ration shop. We also called as fair price shops. Okay, we are also having these fair price shops. So what will happen, like if we can fortify rice and wheat with all these vitamin minerals and various type of nutrition, so this is what the whole concept is all about, a modification and everything. Okay, so under this whole category we are coming into the genetically modified crops and organism. Okay, what exactly we are doing? We are changing the genetic status of any crop, any seed, like that, and whatever we need from that crop, that means whatever the desirable trait that we need from the crop. Trait can be like, I wanted more and more nutritional crop. I want this crop should become resistant to the pest. I want that this crop should tolerate all the harsh environmental drought condition, everything. Okay, so this is what is the concept of genetically modified crops. Okay, so in our country, we are also buying the genetically modified crops, we are also producing the GM crops. In our country, the approval and regulation of genetically modified crops comes under the genetical engineer appraisal committee. So this is the committee which only provide you with permission whether you can utilize these, whether you can make these or not. Okay, this is the sole authority which is providing approval and regulation for genetically modified crop. Currently we have only BT cotton, that is a GM crop. Okay, recently we have only GM crop that is there, which we are utilizing for commercial production. But recently GM mustard has also been given the approval from the genetical engineering appraisal committee, and this is going to be the first food crop that will be grown. Okay, that will first food crop, because cotton is not a food crop, right, but this GM mustard is going to be the first food crop that will be utilized for this whole purpose. Okay, so this is how the concept of genetic engineering work. Okay, so what we do is that if this is a cell, okay, cell of any organism or anything is there, we wanted certain desired trait. Okay, we try to change their genetic material in the laboratory. Okay, and then we develop and we isolate the target gene. Okay, we isolate that target gene. Okay, single gene is isolated and we modify it. Okay, we modify it and then we make multiple copies of that, and because of that we will be making the seed out of it, and it will be inserted into the plant tissues. Okay, and there will be a growth. You can see here we are growing growth medium is there, which is utilized in laboratory. Okay, with the desired trait. Okay, this is a desired trait crop is there, and after that we will be directly putting into the field. Okay, now whatever the plant that will be made, it will be based on the new trait. Okay, that will be based on new trait. Okay, this is how the genetic engineering works, right? So here we have a lot of things are there, like wheat is there, then rice is there, cotton is there, maize is there, then we have here brinjal is there, BT brinjal is there, right? So what are the things that like exactly we are trying to find it out from there? Like I wanted this wheat should remain herbicide tolerant. Okay, rice we want insect resistance and herbicide tolerance. What about cotton? Insect resistance, right? Then we have here, yeah, BT brinjal, we should have insect resistance. So these are the crops which we wanted, how we wanted to get converted. So these are the normal traits. Okay, do not go by this like this is what the company is producing, that company is producing, whatever it is, but go by the trait, like what exactly we wanted our crops to be having the traits. Okay, so here if you can see statistics has been given. Under the statistics you can see 17 million farmers are there which are growing 189 or close to 190 million hectare of biotech crops in 2017. Okay, so once the data gets updated we will let you know regarding the updated data. Okay, and and if we go by the countries, maximum biotech crops are being grown in the USA, where 75 million hectares land is being converted into the biotech farm where GM crops are being growing. Then we have a Brazil is there, Argentina, Canada, and India is on the 5th number where 11.4 million hectare is there. Okay, so here if you can see, we can see dark green color. Okay, dark green colors are there. These are dark green color. So these dark green color means they are the planting countries. Okay, India, China, Australia, we have Brazil, we have USA, we have Canada. Okay, Argentina is there, right? These are South Africa. These are all planting countries. Okay, and one more minute, and here we can see light green color. Light green colors are the country, mostly European, Russia, and then we have Iran is there, right? Then we have Egypt is there, Indonesia is there, Japan is there. They are all importing countries. That means they are getting these GM crops in their countries. Okay. So this is how the whole process is working. Maximum number is like approved even for 26 biotech crops is in 67 countries. Maize is the largest number of approved crop is there. Okay. And like what is the main role of this GM crop? Obviously it is helping in increasing the crop productivity, which is our first priority. Okay, we are converting these GM crops in such a way that they provides us with better environmental condition, and based on that we can try to change these traits. Then it is helpful in conserving biodiversity and also helpful in reducing CO2 emission like that. And because of proper supply of food grain, it is helping elevating poverty and hunger, which is also sustainable development goal number 1 and 2, which is much more, because since sustainable development goal 1 is that we have to achieve no poverty, and sustainable development goal number 2 is no hunger, right? This is exactly we wanted to achieve. So this will be helping in increasing the productivity, which will be preventing people to go into poverty or hunger. Okay, so here you can see commercialized GM crops global status. You can see around in 91.9 million hectare we are having soybean. Maize is in 60.9 million hectare. Then we have cotton that is there in 25.7 million hectare. Okay, so all these countries are there in which GM crops are, like whole of the South American continent, and then we have Southeast Asia, we have China, India, Indonesia. This whole part is being they are producing the GM crops. Still the acceptance of the GM crop is still being questioned at various places, but still slowly once the countries will realize the potential of these GM crops, automatically this uptick will increase. Okay, now this is what DMH11 that I wanted to discuss with you. I told you, like recently Dhar mustard hybrid 11, that we call it as DMH11, it is going to they have already got the GEAC approval. Okay, and it is going to be the first transgenic food crop. This is going to be the first transgenic food crop. So under the Dhar mustard hybrid, this works on principle of removing the male fertility in one parent and restoring it in the offspring. Okay, so this is a technology that has been utilized for Dhar mustard hybrid. Okay, so this is being developed by ex-DU Vice Chancellor Deepak Pental, okay, in 2007, but the process got stuck in the approval in 2017, and I think last year only they have got the approval for the release, commercial release into the, and for the cultivation release. Okay, so the main purpose of creating is that because it will provide you with a better yield. You know, we are importing lot of oil seeds from Indonesia and various other countries, right? So if we are able to generate much productivity of it, we will be reducing our imports from other countries. Okay, right? So this will be helpful for better yield. It will be helpful in hybridization of plants. Otherwise, self-pollination, making hybrid next to the impossible. Okay, so this will lead to higher outputs. Okay, but yeah, obviously, since we are interfering with the genetic material, so there always remain the fear that it may sometimes compromise with the food security. sometimes it may lead to monopoly. Maybe somebody may monopolize this whole trade of dhar mustard hybrid 11. Okay, so because of that they may try to raise the prices of that. Okay, biosafety hazard is there because still biosafety consideration are still on the questionable mark, because we don't know what will happen once these seeds are released onto the open air. Okay, we have seen better yield, but what will happen in the long run to the local crops over there? Okay, so these are all the concerns are there related to dhar mustard hybrid. Okay, so we will be seeing, and once if there is any important news that is coming, we will be discussing with all of you. Okay, so argument for GM crop, why exactly we are asking for this GM crops, why we are not looking for our traditional crop? Obviously it is helpful in addressing the food security, right? Because they have much more higher yield, their yield is high, they are pest resistance, and they are being developed based on the various type of characteristics, based on various characteristics. Okay, so like we have in India, we have a BT cotton, right? BT cotton is giving higher cotton production, and we have now got converted into our cotton exporting nation. Okay, we can see that the success of BT cotton is allowing us to try more and more GM technology in the coming future, because this will provide better yield, and obviously it will try to reduce our dependency on the import. Obviously if we will be making and we will be having much more productivity, we will be helpful in reducing this. Okay, then higher yield and income for farmer. So once the farmer will be able to produce much more higher yield, if the yield will increase, automatically their income will increase. Okay, and they will be also protected from various type of pest and herbicides, right? Okay, so this will help in reducing the pesticide use, because that will be pest resistance and herbicide resistance, right? So we will not have to provide any kind of pesticide and herbicide, because we will be engineering these GM crops in such a way that they become resistant to pest and diseases. Okay, so there will be this will help in reducing the need for any type of chemical fertilizers and herbicide. Obviously it will again helpful in soil conservation, environmental preservation, and because of that no chemical runoff will take place. Chemical runoff will not take place because we will not have that in the field, right? And yeah, global consumption, slowly the consumption of GM crops is increasing over the 2 decades. Okay, and there is no much adverse effect that has been reported. So that means since 2 decades they are remaining some of the better safe category of the crops that are there. So there is no yeah, they are protecting the human health, and they are not having any kind of news regarding that they have done any kind of adverse effect on that. Okay, then resilience to climate change. So these crops, these seeds are being engineered who can withstand the weather fluctuation, who can withstand the extremes, who can withstand the flood, who can withstand the drought. Okay, so we are converting them to make them more and more resilient, so that the future in which we will be focusing a lot of climate issues, so they will remain much more resilient in all these places. Okay, but there are some arguments that are against GM crops. Now, what are some of the arguments that are against the GM crops? So first of all, there is a huge highlight that has been given to the health concern, because not much research has been given onto the health effect of long-term health effect of the GM crops on anybody. Okay, so GM crop exemplified by the classification of glyphosate as a possible carcinogenic by the World Health Organization. That means there are certain GM crops are there which are having glyphosate, that is a probably a carcinogenic, that means cancer causing agent. Okay, some are having cancer causing agent in them. Okay, then once we are able to modify the genetic material of anything, automatically we are contaminating the genetics of that. Okay, we are trying to remove the traditional crops, traditional seed, with the genetic new genetics of that seed, and this may lead to the genetic contamination. Okay, so these GM crops may cross pollinate with the non GM crops, and it may lead to genetic contamination which we have not seen, and which may of larger scale, which may of larger scale, and automatically it may destroy, or the process will increase in such a way that it may destroy the regular crops and it may contaminate the local crops. Okay, so health and environment. So health we have already discussed. In environment we are still remain uncertain regarding that. Okay, what is the effect of the GM crops on environment, what is the effect of GM crops on soil, groundwater and food chain, especially focusing on the food chain, what is going to be the effect, because changes at the primary level, that means at a seed level or at the crop level. Okay, this is the first part of the food chain of anything, right? Crops are the first part of the food chain. So how they are going to affect in the upper chain of the food chain is still unclear. Okay, then seed contamination will take place, because since you are trying to contaminate with the genetics of any seed, so you will be having seed contamination. You may get a good result and you may not get a good result, and it may destroy the genetic material of that traditional crops. Okay, and it in the future also it may affect your cropping system. Okay, then farmer dependency and depth. Okay, since GM crops may increase the farmer dependency on multinational corporation, because multinational corporation will patent that kind of seed, because they have done a lot of research in that area. So if they wanted to buy that genetically modified seed, so they have to pay a good amount of money, because now the companies will try to recover their money from various people who are going to buy their seeds, okay, and technologies. Okay, so this will again the poor farmer, because in our country 2/3 farmers are still small and marginal, and they are already being into the debt trap, mostly are in the debt trap. And with these type of new technologies incorporation and adoption, automatically it will lead to the cycle of debt. Okay, then we have regulatory issues and transparencies. We are still not able to properly provide the regulatory framework, like if anything happens, how it is going to be tackled. There is no proper transparent way, like still focusing on, like there is totally a conflict of interest and lack of transparency during the testing phase. Who is trying to test, where they are trying to test, at what level they are trying to test, and what type of regulation, what type of permission they have got. Okay, now crop loss incident are still there. Okay, so recently we have heard that BT cotton has lost due to the pest attack, again have raised doubt regarding whether they are really so much efficient and sustainable, because we have created this crop to prevent the pest attack. But yeah, in the recent we have seen that BT cotton somewhere is being attacked by the pest attack. So still this raises question, obviously this raises question, like if this is a getting attacked, so what is the purpose of utilizing these type of crops, correct? So because of all these arguments, we will come to know that there are still the trust deficit is there, because we don't have proper transparency is not there, and regulatory process is still at the nascent stage. Okay, and we all don't know what is going to be the overall impact in the food chain, food diversity, and overall in the environment. Okay, so these are the argument against the GM crops. Okay, so what exactly we can do in order to properly enhance the proper use of GM crops without any kind of concern? Obviously, first of all, we have to move forward with the policy enabling technology. Okay, that means we have to make a policy which will make our GM crop adoption align with the food security and environmental sustainability. Okay, so the policy has to made in such a way that whatever the crops that we are growing, whether they will be helpful in our food security, whether they will be helpful in our environmental sustainability or not. So based on that, policy has to be. You cannot simply grow anything and you can do research on anything. First of all, you have to see what exactly your country requires, then only based on that you try to work on that. Okay, then we have a infrastructure improvement. Okay, so government has to provide much more innovation in biotechnology. Okay, like since we are trying to grow GM crops, so we should more focus on irrigation facilities. Okay, irrigation like drip irrigation, then we have sprinklers are there. Okay, so along with these GM crops, alongside whatever is required for growing any crop, we have to do innovation in that area. Okay, proper infrastructure development has to be there. Okay, then regulatory reform, like if anything happens with that, okay, regarding approval, regarding questioning, regarding research of the GM crops, proper regulations has to be there. Okay, and that too is strict regulations. There should be strict regulation has to be there. Okay, then we have to focus on our indigenous research. Okay, that we call, again we put over here as make in India. Okay, we have to focus on make in India, use of our own resources, our own genetic engineering research. Okay, we have to utilize our own bioinformatics, right? So we are already creating various type of genome project. Okay, government have even started our own human genome project. Government is starting genomic project of various crops are also there, so that we should understand the crop structure, and based on that whatever traits that we need, we wanted to change, we can do that. Okay, and then we need much more clinical trials. Okay, like so that proper safety and efficacies can be addressed about the health impact of that. Okay, so people have to be tried these GM crops, and then based on that their clinical trials has to happen, what is the health impact of that gene crop and everything. Okay, so there has to be a collaborative approach. Okay, there should not, the thing should not work in silos. Okay, it is not like that you are working somewhere else, somebody else is working somewhere. No, it has to be collaborative approach. It has to be collaborative between the government, between the industry, between the research group. Okay, so after that only they will be able to properly manage this whole process in a much more streamlined way. Okay, now we are moving towards the next topic, that is called bioinformatics. Now the topic is bioinformatics. So bioinformatics is derived from two words. So one is biology, that is the first word. Second one is informatics. That means we are taking out the information from the biology, and then we are utilizing this information for making out different products. Okay, like there are various fields are there: evolutionary field, genetics field, proteomics field, molecular biology, system biologies, and everything's are there. Okay, so this is an interdisciplinary force where we are utilizing the data of the biology and linking it with IT, information technology, and finding out the results and finding out the research from all these areas. So this will be providing a remarkable growth in this whole area. Okay, so there are a lot of projects that are going in our country which are focusing on the bioinformatics, especially if you see human genome project. Okay, so human genome project, what is the purpose of human? So we are extracting the human genome. Okay, and we have already successfully completed a human genome project in 2009. Okay, so we now have a data of a human genome. Okay, like we have IASC, then we have a Center for Cellular and Molecular Platforms are there. They all have participated in genomic research. With the data they are having, this will be stored and will be utilized for bioinformatics, that we will be able to produce these data, and based on these data we will try to study these data and come out the research and conclusion from them. Okay, you know, we have established BTIS network is there. That means we have a biotechnology information system network is there in 1980s in 1987 we were having. Okay, so India is the first country to develop such a comprehensive network. Okay, so this is be helpful. This the main purpose is that we have to do a research and how we can share the data if any problem, like if we have any kind of disease that is spreading. Okay, then we have the data of bioinformatics, we have a genome of India where we have a data, so we can read the data, we can analyze the data, we can research on that data in order to find out any solution for that. Okay, so that is why government has even come up with the bioinformatics policy in 2004. Okay, so here government has totally laid down the formula, the policy objectives. What is the role of this policy, what exactly we are expecting from them, and what exactly is going to provide with us. Okay, so bioinformatics policy of India helpful in establishment of the bioinformatics division of our country. Okay, so we have a lot of companies are there in our country. TCS is there, Infosys is there, we have Tech Mahindra is there, then we have Wipro is there. So they are all utilizing the bioinformatics. You know, we have a separate department. You know, finance department is there, BFS department is there. Every IT company has a life science department, life science department. If you know, every IT company has a life science department where they are having a data of life sciences, that means mostly of the pharmaceutical companies. Okay, so these pharmaceutical companies take the data from which place? They take the data from the bioinformatics. Okay, whatever the bioinformatics data is there, they utilizes that, and based on that they try to do research. And now we have even collaborated with our neighboring countries, okay, so that we should do collaborative research, we should do the joint projects along with them, so that we will be able to understand our area properly, what type of genetic resources are there nearby our areas, what type of genomic setting is there about our area. You know, Asian people have their own different genomic setting, then American people have their own genomic setting, European people have their own genomic setting, right? So this is all the bioinformatics will provide a huge lot of data in terabytes, and based on that they should do research. And right now everybody know we are having machine learning tools, we have artificial intelligence. Right now chat GPT is also coming, so these all can be utilized in order to analyze these data. We will be having supercomputers. Okay, we have supercomputers in our country. We have a supercomputer we feed these data on them and we try to analyze them data. Okay, we try to analyze these data over there. Okay, so here the main focus area is on the rapid expansion of the bioinformatics sector, because we wanted to converge this biotechnology with information technology. You know, companies are there, GVK Biosciences is there, then Strand Life Sciences is there, then we have our Biocon is there, right? They are all working in this bioinformatics field, especially focus on the drug discovery support, drug discovery medicine support they are doing. Okay, government has even started making biotech park. You know, if you go to Bangalore, if you go to Mumbai, if you go to Pune, everywhere government is trying to make bio IT park. Okay, and if you go to Bangalore, it is near Sarjapur Road. Okay, there you will be find there is a bio IT park where mostly companies who are working in the biotechnology area or who are dealing with the data of biotechnologies, they are getting established over there. Okay, because they are doing the research on bioinformatic research, they are helpful in development and entrepreneurship activity. Okay, so and this sector is also helpful in academia industry collaboration, because until and unless we have a collaboration between academics and industries, okay, so we have a lot of industries are there, but if we don't have proper research happens in the academic areas. Okay, colleges, universities, at these places, IIT, IISc, triple IIT, AIMS, all these places are there. So there are various leaders in this biotechnology area which are trying to develop this whole area. At the same time, they need all the research data, all the bioinformatics data, so they feed on these data, they utilize this data for focusing on the research and entrepreneurship activities. Okay, now we are moving towards the next topic, that is called biosimilar. So whenever we say biosimilar, that means they are something similar to their own counterpart. Okay, So biosimilar is the replication of biological entity. That means if this is one biological entity and this is a second, so this second one is a biosimilar. Okay, it is from the biological entity part only. Then people somebody say like, what is the generic then? Generic is replicated from chemical entities. Okay, like if you have something which is biological and you are trying to replicate in a biological way only through different means, that is called as biosimilar. Okay, and in the generic category you will see that these are things which are made from the chemical entities. Okay, you might have heard that there are original medicines and there are generic medicine. Original medicines are made from the companies which are doing so much of research and they have a patent of that medicine, right? But there are companies who are making generic medicines which are making the same efficacies medicine, but from the chemicals. Okay, they are replicating the chemical entity. That means they have a active pharmaceutical ingredient is there. You know, all the medicines have API, that means active pharmaceutical ingredient. Okay, so this is only the main medicine which is curing the things, right? And you know, we are much more dependent on China for these active pharmaceutical ingredients, because we know that if we need like metformin. Okay, metformin is used for sugar. Okay, sugar for diabetes patient. So metformin is called active pharmaceutical ingredient in that. Okay, so there are a lot of active pharmaceutical ingredients are there which are being imported from outside. Okay, so the focus is that we are trying to make much more biosimilar medicines. Okay, so unlike generic, where direct replication of the API we do, biosimilar process are they are more complex and they have a structural variation. Okay, so if we go by an example, you know, Zydus Cadila is a very big multinational company is there. They have made a biosimilar that is called Adalimumab. Okay, this has been already patented by AbbVie for treating the arthritis. Okay, but Zydus Cadila has utilized the biosimilar product for creating that product. Okay, that means there is a need for, because in this concept of biosimilar we are trying to find out the similar biosimilar elements. Okay, right? So that is why a lot of complexity is involved. But if you wanted to convert them into generic, in that you just take out the active pharmaceutical ingredient and you make the medicines out of it. Okay, now we will be seeing here, biosimilar is a biological product. Okay, you know, if we take an example of FDA, Food and Drug Administration of the USA, Food and Drug Administration always try to provide approval to the normal biologics medicine. Okay, approve the biologic known as reference product. Okay, so we have one product which is called, first product, that is called reference product. Okay, correct? With the help of these reference product only we make the biosimilar product. Okay, so biosimilar are highly similar to the reference product, but the thing is that they have again large and complex molecular structure, and they are produced from the living organism and carefully monitored. Okay, so for approval, the structure and functioning of the approved biosimilar were compared to the reference material. That means once you are making a biosimilar product, then your biosimilar project will be compared with the reference product. Okay, and what they will check? They will check whether they have the same purity or not, whether they have a molecular structure, and what is their bioactivity. Okay, so when we say biosimilar, so they do not have any clinically meaningful difference from the reference product. Okay, there is no much difference that is there in the reference product and the biosimilar product. Okay, because biosimilar product is similar to that product, that is real product. Okay, it is just like that they are being produced from the different organism. Okay, and at a slightly lower cost, right? So Biosimilar, are they of the same quality? So first of all, we should know biologics. We have talked about the reference product. So biologics mean living organism. We are utilizing the living organism like yeast, bacteria, or anything. We are making various product out of it, which are treating various kind of diseases like cancer, kidney disease, and various other things. Okay, and biosimilar obviously is a similar, and they are always compared with the reference product. They have no clinical meaning difference of that. Okay, route of administration is same, potential side effects are same, strength and dosage are also same, right? Then people say, then what is the meaning of this biosimilar and generic? Then generic is same only, right? But biosimilar are made from the living sources, but generic are made from the chemicals. Okay, in biosimilar, we are utilizing a very specialized process to produce. It is again similar to your reference product. Okay, then here we have a simpler product. Here we are just copying the API and making the medicine. Okay, they are very similar, but they are not identical to the original biologics. Okay, very similar to that. But here generic, they are copy of the branded drugs. Okay, biosimilar try to produce much more faster way. Okay, then again here also faster development process using public information and brand name. But here biologic approval, right? Faster development process using public information from original biologic approval, here from brand name drug approval. Then here usually less expensive from original, because original product are obviously costly, but here in biosimilar they are become less costly. Okay, and generic are less expensive than the branded drugs. Okay, so here the main focus is they are made from chemicals and they are made from the living sources, right? So here we are talking about like what is the prospects of biosimilar. Obviously there are a lot of diseases are there whose cost of treatment is very high, and generic drugs are also not that much providing much more efficiencies of that. Okay, so again our focus has to be on the biosimilar product which are producing of the same category. Okay, we have Zydus Cadila there which are investing heavily on these biosimilar products. Okay, and because they are also providing much more affordable alternative way, they are being accessible to the wider population. Okay, as the patent for biologic expire, the biosimilar market in India is supposed to grow. So, okay, so normally for the biologic product, patent is there for certain years. So once the patent gets over, you can produce same kind of products. Okay, for various type of diseases. But yeah, in this whole process, if you are because in this again you are utilizing living organism. Okay, you are making not living, or what we call it as we are utilizing organism here for producing of the drugs and various other things. So again it requires a lot of research. Okay, a lot of investment in research is required in this whole field. So no company wanted to expand their work. Okay, the investor are normally get like they just do not get motivated if they see that the span of recovery is very long. Okay, so investor also, because it is deterring the investor to invest in this field, because the whole process spans over 6 to 7 years by doing research and then again making some biosimilar project. Okay, so because of that, even the startups are also not getting proper funding in this whole biosimilar development product. Okay, so there is a need for government support and policies. Okay, we should have a proper government support, at the same time proper clear regulatory framework, so that they should not hamper with any kind of patent activity. Okay, so we know that China is prioritizing, because China is utilizing the patented product, trying and making that converted into biosimilar product. Okay, in the biosimilar they will not raise any kind of patent issue over there. Okay, so there is a need to do a lot of research, there is need to provide more and more investment in these areas, which will be producing the product which is similar to the original product. Okay, and it is not even chemically made. Okay, so these challenges has to be addressed regarding investment, regarding regulatory framework. All these things has to be changed, because we have to provide much more conducive environment, and then only we will be able to fully unlock the potential of biosimilar. Okay, because our population is 1.4 billion and we wanted to provide a quality healthcare to those people. Okay, so biosimilar will be helpful in providing quality healthcare to them, and this will be much more beneficiary than the generic drugs. Okay. Now we are moving towards the bioplastics. When we talk of the bioplastic, again the word is derived from bio. Okay, that means there is something which of a biological content in that. Okay, because we all know the issues of plastics. Okay, plastic is non biodegradable material which is entering to the food chain, and it has already involved into the food chain of various organisms including human being. If we try to check our body, we will be finding some traces of the microplastics in our body. Okay, so bioplastics offers a very important and potential solution which will be providing you with much more sustainable way of a product which is of plastic in nature especially, and also it will not having any kind of environmental issue. Okay, so it will be derived from the renewable sources like plants, agriculture waste. Okay, and obviously what exactly is not present in the traditional plastic is present over here. That means it is bio, it has a biodegradability, it has a composability. Okay, so if we compare with the conventional plastic, it is much more easier biodegradable and composability. Okay, so there are five ways in which we are making bioplastic. One is cellulose based plastic, cellulose from the cellulose like wood pulp. Okay, cellulose based plastic normally here we are utilizing if we wanted to make some kind of wrappers, some kind of tableware, spoons, then bowls and various other things. Like in our country we have ecoware solution is there, which is trying to create products with the help of a bioplastics. Okay, so this will be a cellulose based bioplastic which is biodegradable in nature. Okay, it will not hamper anything with our environment. At the same time, it will reduce our reliance on the conventional plastic. Obviously, that is only the main purpose of it. Then we have a starch based thermoplastics are there. Okay, they are derived from the starch. Okay, so this starch based thermoplastic has a much more benefit in the pharmaceutical because of their moisture absorbing properties. Okay, so these we are utilizing, we are making bags of the starch and alternative plastic bags we are creating from the with the help of these. So every the way we are making these bioplastics have their own different type of way of working. Okay, then we have a polylactic acid, PLA, type of a plastic which is made from the fermented from the crop starch. Okay, it is made from the crop starch. Okay, so it is the main focus that their products will be utilized in computer casing and packaging. Okay, they are made from the polyacetic acid. Again, they are more biodegradable in nature. So in India we have various startups that are working in this area. We have BioQ Green Technologies is there, so they are again offering PLA based packing solution, catering solutions and packaging materials. Then polyhydrobutyrate, PHB, they are known for their biodegradability. Okay, they are known for their biodegradability. They are much more biodegradable than any other type of bioplastics. Okay, so they again have a diverse application, like we have a banknote and automotive parts are being there, which are being made with the help of these. Okay, because we are utilizing of plastic in the automobiles, right? So now we can utilize the polyhydrobutyrate especially for creation of various type of products, especially automotive products. Okay, so we have a Danimer Scientific are there, which are creating PHB based product. Okay, so they will be helpful in mitigating plastic pollution in the world. Then polyamide 11, that is PA11, they are derived from the vegetable oils. Okay, they are derived from the vegetable oils, and again they are much more flexible and have a biodegradability. Obviously they are derived from the vegetable oil, can be, and they have a lot of application in pipes making, wires making, electrical cables making and everything. Okay, so this is how the bioplastic we can utilize in various fields. So we have an alternative for everything, right? Now here we can see how these bioplastics are being made. Okay, you can see here plant based are there, cellulose based is there. Okay, we can utilize the cassava, legumes, corn, sugar cane. Okay, then we just convert with the help of our chemicals. Okay, lactic acid and ethanol, etc. we can utilize, and we can convert them into the chemical compound resin, polyacetylene, like that. Okay, and then we can do the proper molding of that. Okay, after once this chemical is being produced, we can do the proper molding, plastic modeling, or whatever you wanted to do. Okay, so these bottles you are making like that. So once the bottle is being prepared, so in the day one, and if you are utilizing this bottle, that is very good, and after you are throwing somewhere else, so in 80 days this whole bottle will get decomposed. Okay, so with the help of UV light, heat, and oxygen, this whole bottle will get decomposed. So this is what exactly we are getting the maximum advantage of that. Okay, so here you can see we have biomass product from plant, corn, sugarcane, algae are there. They will get converted into polymers, then these polymers get converted into bioplastic, which we can utilize for various type of products, and then we are their biodegradation are happening, and we will do the compositing, and you don't have to do compositing, they will automatically happen because of carbon dioxide, sun rays, and water and everything, and these get again just mixed with the soil, and again you can convert them into bioplastics. Okay, so here we can see that there are a lot of positive impacts of the bioplastics. Okay, so they offer environmental damage, that is the first one, obviously, over the conventional plastic, right? So once we are able to get that, so this problem of plastic is slowly will get removed. Okay, but still it is still at nascent stage, so we need more and more research in this whole areas. Okay, then we have a reduce reliance on the fossil fuel. Obviously we are using a lot of fossil fuels, and this fossil fuel and petroleum gel and everything is utilized for making these plastics. Okay, so once we are able to make bioplastic, we will be reducing our reliance on the fossil fuel, and because of that there will be also lower generation of the gas, greenhouse gas emission. Okay, biodegradability obviously, and non-toxicity obviously, proper recycling will happen, and since we are making bioplastic, obviously they have a lower carbon footprint and they are much more environmental friendly. Okay, and we can utilize in various places, textile, agriculture, industry, medicine, etc., wherever you wanted to utilize, but there are certain negative impacts are there. Okay, so here we need much more higher production energy. Okay, we need more and more energy that is being required as compared to conventional plastic, because conventional plastic can be made with lesser energy. That means it is per capita, per, like we say, per kg energy consumption of bioplastic is much more than the conventional plastic. Okay, then how this biodegradability will happen? What is the standard way of biodegradability? If their products, or if any kind of bioplastic goes into the marine ecosystem or underground system, what is going to be the impact? Because we don't have proper data for that. Okay, we don't have proper data for that, like how it is going to affect these marine life and all these things. Okay, then difficulty in waste segregation and lack of awareness among consumers. Then not all bioplastics are fully degradable. Okay, then again it will lead to the environmental pollution, and sometimes they remain for longer time. Okay, right? So obviously bioplastic offer promise in reducing the plastic pollution, but it is not like a panacea, right? Main focus is on, obviously, every time main focus on proper waste management and proper waste segregation, like raising awareness, sustainable alternatives who are mitigating environmental degradation. So main purpose, like if we wanted to reduce the waste, remove the waste, we should have proper waste management rules, proper composting rules, proper alternatives, and raising awareness is the main thing that we wanted to focus on. Okay, so this is all about bioplastic, right? Then I wanted to provide you with the example here. Balrampur Chini Mills Limited is there. Okay, Balrampur Chini Mill is there, which is have recently invested around 2000 crore rupees, where they are establishing the industrial bioplastic plant. Okay, so this is what Balrampur Chini Mill is working on. That they will be utilizing vegetable fats, and from the chini mill, they can utilize the cane, sugar. Sorry, 1 minute. They can utilize sugar cane, brass, okay, which way they can convert into the bioplastics. Okay, they can utilize the straws, they can get converted into starch, they can utilize starch, they can utilize vegetable fats, oils and everything, and they can get converted into various type of bioplastics. So we have already studied about the advantages: bio-based, biodegradable, compostable, and variety of properties are being there for the bioplastics. Okay, so you can provide that with that example, like how Balrampur Chini Mills is working in generation bioplastics. Okay, now we are moving towards the very, very important topic, that is called biofuels. What is biofuels? So under the biofuel, first of all, we should know what is the meaning of biofuel. So biofuels are again hydrocarbons fuels. Okay, so they are derived from the organic matter. Okay, either they have a living source or once living within a short period. So they can be solid, liquid, or gases in nature. So there the biofuels can be solid biofuels, like we can utilize wood, dried plant material, or manure. Then we have a liquid biofuel. Under that we can have a bioethanol or biodiesel. Okay, so bioethanol is the main thing that our focus will be on, right? So bioethanol can be produced from sugar cane, corn, wheat. Okay, and biodiesel is derived from the vegetable oils and animal fat. Okay, so a special focus will be here. Then gaseous biofuels are there, where we can go for there is a anaerobic digestion happens, like if you put something and try to microorganism to work on the waste material, agriculture residue, sewage sludge, or food wastage. So this get converted into gaseous biofuel. Okay, gobar gas, you can call it as the biofuel, right? So under the biofuels, we have various generation based on the type of resources we are utilizing for generation of that biofuel. Okay, so the classification of biofuels based on the resources that we are utilizing. Under that we have first generation biofuel. Here we are utilizing these are called as conventional biofuel. Like here we are utilizing food products, like food resources or food product, like sugar we are utilizing, starch we are utilizing, vegetable we are utilizing to convert to biofuels. Okay, they are the first generation biofuels include ethanol production. From these we are producing ethanol. Okay, include ethanol product from sugarcane and biodiesel from the oil seed. Okay, so this is what right now we are into the process. This is what the process we are utilizing. We are utilizing sugar. Government has even come up with a policy where sugar mills are allowed to divert certain portion of their sugar cane, and even the farmers are allowed to divert certain kind of sugar cane to the biofuel production. Okay, then we have a second generation biofuel, where we will be using the sustainable feedstock. Okay, because in this category, in the first generation category, we are utilizing the food crops. Okay, so it may hamper with the food security. Okay, it may hamper with the food security, but in the second generation biofuel we are focusing on sustainable feedstock, where we are not competing with the food supply. Okay, so second generation biofuel are utilizing non-edible oil seed, okay, and agriculture residue. That is a second category. Third generation we are moving from derived from algae. Okay, these are being laboratory made or extracted from the nature. Okay, algae have a advantage over first and second generation because they produce much more higher productivity and have a minimal land use requirement. Okay, so third generation biofuel is based on the algae. Okay, then we have a fourth generation biofuel, which we are focusing on genetically engineered crop. Okay, GM crops. Okay, we have already talked about the GM crops, where we will be utilizing genetical engineering crop that will be working, that will be, we are making genetic engineering sugarcane, we are utilizing genetic engineering mustard, okay, whatever the things are required, genetically engineering corn, genetically engineer wheat crop, okay, so that they can absorb higher amount of carbon and higher amount of fuel they get converted using a second generation technique. Okay, so this is how fourth generation biofuels we are utilizing, but right now we are still on the second stage. We are into the first stage right now because we are utilizing all the food crops for the biofuel generation. So here you can see here, this is a pictorial diagram. First generation food related sources we are utilizing corn, wheat, and this get converted into biofuels. Okay, biofuels and biodiesel. Okay, second generation non-food sources we are utilizing. Okay, so that they should not get compete with the food sources. Then third generation algae, fourth generation other sources or GM crops we are utilizing for the production of that. Okay, now here you can see I wanted to discuss much more on that. Here you can see all these food crops are there. Okay, food crops. Here you can see all the second generation non-food crops are there. Non-food crops. Here you can see algae is there. Okay, correct. So this is first generation on the top, first generation. This we have a second generation, here we have third generation, right? All these are being utilized. Like in the food crops we are utilizing palm, sunflower, canola, all these things are there. Okay, so this we are utilizing the process of enzymatic hydrolysis, fermentation, distillation, ethanol blending gas, and we are converting them into ethanols. Okay, and under here we if we wanted biodiesel, we are utilizing the oil extraction techniques, transesterification, purification, and we are utilizing and get converted into biodiesel. Okay, so this is how we are utilizing. So you should know like what our sources are being utilized and how they are getting utilized and at what generation what product they are utilizing in converting into the biofuels. Okay, now what is the government initiative regarding the biofuels? Okay, so in 2014 the government of BJP came into our country, and they have done several measures to promote the biofuels. The main purpose is that because it will reduce our oil imports. Okay, government has kept the aim that we will be blending our petrol and diesel by 20% of ethanol. That means if we are able to blend our petrol, that means if we are earlier 1 liter of petrol we were using, so now we will be having 800 ml of petrol and 200 ml of our 200 ml of our ethanol, right? So this is how we wanted to blend our petrol so that we will reduce our oil imports by 20%. Okay, so this is the target that we have taken. By 2030 our petrol will be 20% ethanol blended. Okay, and our and 5% biodiesel blending by 2030. Okay, so this is what the target we have taken, and we have already crossed 10% of blending. We have already crossed the 10% blending, but right now the 20% here, the target that has been given. Sorry, I have written it mistakenly. 1 minute. Sorry, here what we call it as, just 1 minute. This target of 20% ethanol blending has been pre-put to 2025. Okay, when for biodiesel it is 2030, but for ethanol blending it is 2025. Okay, and government is providing all the necessary support, policy support, and even providing tax incentives to the various companies who are working in this whole process. And focus is on 2G ethanol bio refinery. Okay, second generation ethanol. So second generation means focus is on our wood, bioenergy, grasses, crop residue, tunga, jataropa, and castor. So second generation means non-food sources crops we are utilizing for blending it with petrol. Okay, so here we will be also utilizing surplus food grain, and main focus is on the second generation where we will be utilizing non-food crops. Okay, obviously there are a lot of potential benefits of that. First of all, it will help in reducing the imports, because around 80% of our oil, 80% of our oil we import from outside. Okay, so once we are able to blend 20% with ethanol, automatically we will be reducing our imports by 20%. Okay, so this will help, and so this will reduce our oil import bill and forex reserve, and it will prevent our forex reserve and helpful in saving of the forex reserve. Okay, and since we are utilizing the biofuel, so it will also help in reducing the greenhouse gases because it emits very less amount of pollution than normal conventional fuel, and in these area employment generation will also happen. Okay, since farmer will be able to sell their agriculture residue to these companies, so this will helpful in additional income generation to the people. Okay, then some issues are still there. Okay, so what are the critical analysis of these is that risk of policy abuse. So government has created policy, government is providing a lot of support to that, but during the period of high crude prices, these companies who are making the biofuels may try to sell their biofuels at certain increase rate. Okay, because they will say that yeah, higher crude price is going on, so let me try to match with the let's have a proportional way of selling these biofuels. Okay, so during the period of high crude oil prices there may be a chance of policy abuse. Okay, so there is a need for continuous monitoring and adjustment in this whole process, because we cannot expect that biofuel cost should go again past control the crude oil prices. So that's why there is a need for regulation and strict control over that. Okay, then technological and financial feasibility. Okay, for that, if we wanted to properly generate the biofuels, there is a lot of research and investment that is required. Research and investment that is required. Again, for that we need a collaboration with industry and academia. Okay, obviously the industry and academia has to further collaborate in order to provide much better technology, much more financial feasibility for that. Okay, and these biofuels are still at a nascent stage, and they are still not being and they are not being taken up in such higher amount. So there is a need for robust supply chain. Okay, we should develop and we should produce these biofuel in such level that we will be providing a proper supply chain, that there should not be any kind of shortage, because if there is any shortage that is happening, automatically it will make the prices goes very high. Okay, and government has to keep on focusing on the policies issue, and if there is any kind of policy barrier, government has to address that. Okay, because here the private investment is very much needed, and help of the private party is very much needed. Okay, so if we wanted to promote the biofuels, that is an energy goal, because if we wanted to reduce our oil import, and if we wanted to become energy independent, or we should have energy security. Okay, so we have to focus on a targeted scale, and strategies have to be there how we can supplement our own domestic production and biofuel adoption. And at the same time, we also have to look forward, like whatever we are producing, whether that is much more energy efficient, whether they are working properly or not, or whether we are trying to provide better technology, and whether they are much more efficient or not. Now we will be discussing the national policy on biofuel which government has released in 2018. Obviously, whenever any policy is released, so government try to address various things on that, and what government is providing the support on that, that we will be discussing over here. Okay, so the main objective of the national biofuel policy is to increase the biofuel availability. First of all, the first is that how we can increase the biofuel availability. Okay, how we can increase the blending percentage. Okay, so government earlier has set the target of 20% by 2030, but because of the increased production, now government has said that 20% by 2025, that is the main target. Okay, so we wanted to blend ethanol blended, we wanted to blend our petrol with ethanol 20%. Okay, have to have up to 20% ethanol nationwide from April 1st 2023, slowly. So target is 20% by 25-26, and 5% biodiesel blending of direct biodiesel sale by 2030. So this is what the target that government has given under the national policy on biofuels. Right now, what are the strategies? There are 4 strategies that government is utilizing. First of all, domestic production has to be increased. That means even the sources that you are utilizing or raw material that you are utilizing has to be coming from the domestic sources. Okay, and second generation biorefinery, second generation, which are making from the residue, non-food crops. Okay, this is what these type of refineries has to be set up. Okay, then new biofuel feedstock and conversion technologies has to be implemented, and conducive environment for biofuel integration. So these are the 4 strategies through which our companies, our government, our academia has to work all together. Okay, so bioethanol, everybody knows, like we are developing from sugar containing material, starch containing material and everything. Then advanced biofuel, they are covering from the lignocellulosic feedstock. Okay, non-food crops that we have seen that bioethanol is coming from like sugar bean, that is the first generation. Advanced biofuel, we are coming from the second generation. Okay, slowly we also have to increase our raw material expansion. Okay, because until and unless we have a proper raw material, and that to derive from our domestic resources, we will not be able to we will not be able to become energy self-sufficient. So that is why for ethanol production we have to have a wide range of raw material like molasses, sugarcane juice, biomass, sugar beet, sugar, sweet sorghum, starch containing material, industrial waste, algal feedstock. So this all has to be there, and maximally has to be procured from domestic sources. And what we needed for biodiesel, obviously we need non-edible oil seeds, cooking oil, animal tallows, acid oil, short gestation non-edible oil. Then oil rich crops are there, algal feedstock are there. Okay, and then advanced biofuels are utilizing biomass, municipal solid waste, industrial waste. Okay, here we are again needing some technology. Okay, so first of all we are needing food crops, then we are needing non-food crops, and after that we are utilizing like different type of algal based fuel cell, and after that there are the 4 categories. So we have a 4 generation biofuels and biodiesel we will be utilizing. Okay, then capacity and import consideration. Okay, so estimated capacity is that we wanted to produce around 700 crore liters per annum. Okay, estimated capacity is stand right now at 700 crore liters per annum, and government have allowed based on domestic availability and blending requirement. So government has even said that they can import the feedstock from outside. Okay, so the decision has to be taken by the National Biofuel Coordination Committee. Okay, then SEZ, Special Economic Zone, and EUO facilitations are there, where import of feedstock for biofuel production export is permitted without restriction. That means if you are opening a 2G factory, 2G means second generation biofuel making factory over there in the SEZ, economic zones and special economic zones, if you are creating over there, then their import feedstock you can get anything. Okay, any amount you are there without any restriction you can get it. Okay, but outside SEZ you need proper permission from the National Biofuel Coordination Committee. Okay, then export regulations are there, general restrictions are there. Okay, export of biofuel typically is not allowed due to low domestic availability. That means you cannot export biofuel because we ourselves don't have proper amount of, and we are having very low availability for that. Okay, but export may be permitted if you have a surplus. That means if you are able to properly get the target. That means if our country is started blending of 20% by 2025, that means our country that is the target that we have set. Okay, 20% by 2025. But if you are able to achieve this target in this condition, or we can just transfer or we can export the biofuel under these condition. Okay, prime fluctuation or in any type of calamity, but you need SBCC approval, that is National Biofuel Coordination Committee approval. Okay, so there is a important role that has been of the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, because since we are making this from the food crops, non-food crops and various other things, so there is a much better role of Ministry of Consumer Affairs and Food and Drug Administration. Okay, so department will participate in biofuel policies, and they are finding out and day-to-day monitoring of these biofuel production, at the same time trying to help the various type of companies and various type of industrial application and everything. Government is trying to support these companies in order to achieve this target in the coming future. Okay, so you can see here a national biofuel policy, if we are able to do 20% by 2025 and 5% of biodiesel by 2030, 20% of bioethanol by 2025. Okay, so 2G ethanol biorefinery of rupees 5,000 crore in 6 year. Okay, and categorization basic, advanced and algal based, right? So these are the food crops that we can utilize, especially corn, molasses, sugarcane juice, sugar beets. Okay, here I have taken in a pictorial way which you can easily remember. And then we have a development of a national biomass repository where they will appraise the biomass across the country, like at which places good biomass is being created, at which place quality of biomass is good, from which place we can get the biomass for our oil, for our bio ethanol production and biodiesel production. And regarding the biodiesel, we are utilizing edible oil seed, cooking oil, then other type of crops are being there. Research and development has a focus area, and we have a biofuel coordination committee is there, which is under Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, which is working group of a biofuel. Okay, so this is all the national policy on biofuel of 2018. If there is any changes that is coming, we will be letting you know in the coming future classes. Okay, now we are moving towards the ethanol blending program. So we have already done in the biofuel we have studied, but this is a separate topic I wanted to discuss. Okay, this is again a separate topic that I wanted to put over here with all of you. So this topic, since we have already discussed in detail, but I wanted to provide you with proper notes for all these things, so that is why I have kept it separately, this topic. So under the ethanol blending program, obviously we have already discussed regarding blending of 20% of ethanol by 2025. Okay, and that will be called as E20. You might have seen that there are petrol pump in which you can see that E20 written over there. That means they are being petrol that has been blended by 20% ethanol. So why this ethanol blending is needed? Obviously economic benefits are there. We will be saving on our import bill, around 4 billion annually we will be saving on our import bill. It will provide additional income and additional revenue to the farmers. Okay, they will be able to sell their excess products to these companies, and they will be generating much more, and this will be helpful in our farmer, doubling the farmer income. Okay, doubling farmer income. Okay, then obviously environmental impact. So ethanol blended petrol provide much more environmental benefit. Okay, so they will help in reducing the pollutants like carbon monoxide, hydrocarbon, nitrogen dioxide, so which are being called as topmost pollutant. Okay, this will helpful in reducing these pollutant. Obviously it will further try to create a quality environment wherever you are having. Okay, it will lower the harmful emission, it will improve the air quality, and once these harmful emissions will be removed, once air quality will improve, automatically public health will also improve. Then technological feasibility is there, because since we are being moving into much more technological area, now vehicle technologies are also getting changed, and now they are becoming much more feasible in order to take ethanol 5%, ethanol 10%, ethanol 20% type of, because now their engines are being designed in such a way that these blended petrol works very properly in these engines. Okay, so this is the whole process, like how the blending program works. Okay, you have a crop, sugar, sorghum, or anything, or any crop which is being utilized for making bioethanol. Then fermentation. From fermentation you will do purification of that, you will convert them into ethanol with a purification. Now the fifth process will be, now you will be having petrol. This is your petrol, and this is your ethanol. Okay, so ethanol will be 20% ethanol and 80% petrol that will be there. Okay, so this is called as here E10 is written, that means we are doing 10%. Okay, but now we will do E20. Okay, so once it is there, so now it is E20 blended petrol is there, so we will transport them, and in the petrol pump you can see here, you can see E20, E10, E5. So you will come to know, like in this petrol pump, how much blending has been done over there. Okay, So this is regarding that. So, but there are certain challenges that are involved in the ethanol blending. Okay, there is lot of production constraints are there. Okay, because financial instability among the sugar mills, uncertainty in the pricing, these are processing huge challenges to the production of the ethanol, because we know that sugar mills are still at a places where the proper government support, government is providing support, but when it comes to the money to the farmers and proper supply and sale, the sugar mills are still at a losses. Okay, and sometimes there is unnecessary increase in the prices of that, so there is a issue of production constraint. Then vehicle compatibility, like if we are making higher blending of the ethanol, so we need much more research in the development of the engine design. Okay, in engine design of a car or bike or your buses, anything like that. Okay, so E20 compatibility has to be discussed first before we can go ahead with E20 blending petrol. Then resource constraints, so the resource are like food crops, non-food crops are there, so we need to diversify in these area, because if we don't have proper second generation ethanol production resources, like your non-food crops are there, okay, starch is there, bagasse is there, so we will be not able to produce proper ethanol. Okay, so there is a need for proper supply of the resources in these area. Then safety and handling. Okay, so in ethanol is flammable, safety measures have to be required during the process of production, during the process of storage and transportation. Okay, so safety regulation has to be put on place everywhere, that again a cost and lot of complexities are there. Okay, so what we can do in this whole process, obviously infrastructure development is one thing that we have to focus on first of all. Okay, feedstock diversification, policy support, and monitoring and evaluation, obviously that we are always discussing regarding that. So this all is needed if we wanted our ethanol blending program to be working, and it will helpful in generation of the additional money to the farmers. It will reduce our oil imports, it will save our forex reserve, it will help in preventing our environmental damages, it will make more and our climate more and more cleaner and healthy. Now coming to the DNA Technology Regulation Bill of 2019, since we are talking about the biotechnology lecture, so this DNA Technology Regulation Bill is very important. Okay, so DNA Technology Regulation Bill came in 2019. What is the main aim of DNA Technological Regulation Bill? Obviously, whenever we talk of the DNA, here we are trying to store the DNA, collect the DNA, and utilize this DNA for the forensic purposes. Okay, so especially it is this bill has been there in order to especially focuses on the forensic purposes in India. Okay, we know that a lot of DNA technologies are coming and everywhere. The main purpose is the criminal investigation, identification of missing purpose, finding out the biological relationship among the people, DNA profiling. So in this DNA Technology Regulation Bill, we are trying to create a DNA data bank where this is being utilized for very specific purpose, very specific purpose, and other than that no other purposes can be utilized. Okay, so there are a lot of penalties if you are utilizing any type of unauthorized access or leak any DNA data in order to protect the privacy and the rights of the people. Okay, so key highlights in the proposed bill. What is that proposed bill, DNA Technology Bill, or what is that is proposing? Okay, focus is on law enforcement agencies. That means it will help especially the law enforcement agency like police, CBI, whatever it is. Okay, where you will be collecting the DNA samples. Like there are a lot of criminals are there, a lot of suspects are there, so we can create a DNA profile, DNA samples of everybody. Okay, so there will be a special DNA bank that will be created for all these suspects and criminals. Okay, so here it will be only utilized for identification purpose and no other uses for that. Okay, so law enforcement agency, what they can do, they can utilize this DNA technology and they can match with the DNA samples, because during the crime scenes and crime places you can find that blood is being there. Okay, so with that help they can utilize, because they will be having a data bank for that, and they can match these data with the criminal suspect. Okay, so with this they will be establishing a DNA profiling board. Okay, what this DNA profiling board will do, DNA profiling board will be the final authority. They will be acting like a final authority who will be authorizing state level DNA bank. Okay, so there will be a state level DNA bank will be also created. They will be approving the method, like how you can collect the DNA. There has to be certain specific way through which we can collect the DNA, and how this DNA will be stored in laboratories, and who can access these DNA data. Okay, right? So this DNA bank will be there at national and regional level. Okay, so the things will be get from the crime scene, suspect, offenders, missing purpose. Okay, so this will be utilized for only these purposes only, for the forensic purposes. Okay, so DNA bank, they can share the data among the different states, among the different law agencies. Okay, interstate crimes, but it has to be have for only intended purpose, not any other purposes. Okay, so with that DNA technology regulation bill, they have put penalties for unauthorized access. Okay, so that means this bill have a penalties. Even it is going for imprisonment and fines if you are leaking or seeking any unauthorized access to the DNA. Okay, because unauthorized access and leaking the DNA can compromise the integrity and privacy of an individual. Okay, and it will totally jeopardize the whole criminal investigation process. Okay, because there may be plantation of the evidence can also happen because of that. Okay, so that has to be kept. DNA has to be kept at a highly secure zone in order to prevent any kind of misuse or abuse of the DNA data. Okay, and DNA testing has to be permitted only for a specific purpose that are listed in the bill, and no any other purposes. Okay, only under criminal investigation, only under Indian Penal Code, only for identifying the missing purpose, then only you can utilize this data. Otherwise you cannot utilize this data for any other purposes. Okay, so under this bill they are trying to protect the identity of a person. Okay, in order to safeguard the privacy of that purpose. So this is what about the DNA technology and regulation bill that is all about. Okay, so what is the significance? Obviously it will improve the criminal justice system, and it will try to fasten the process. Okay, इससे process fasten हो जाएगा, that we will be able to exactly find out if, because normally whenever the crimes happen, so sometimes mostly we have a serial offenders are there. Okay, so if any kind of DNA sample we get, so we can match with our database and we can get it. Okay, we can find out suspect, victims or offenders like that. Okay, so because of this we will be having a higher conviction rate, and once we have a higher conviction rate, we will be expecting that the crimes and various type of criminal activity should also come down, because they will be come to know that if you get caught and if you have any kind of samples that has been released in a crime location, you may get caught, because government is having all the DNA data. Okay, but there are a lot of issues are there, because misuse of DNA can happen, because if the person who is dealing with this DNA data may try to release this data or try to leak this data, automatically it may lead to the plantation of the evidences. Okay, fake plantation of the evidences. Okay, so it has a potential misuse and unauthorized access can take place. Privacy implication, because you can collect the DNA data and people are having all the information in that, so right of privacy, because in our constitution we have a right of privacy, and nobody can have our hinder with the right to privacy. Then ethical dilemmas are also there regarding the type of the way the DNA samples can be used, the way the proportionality, the way how it is going to be utilized. So ethically, whether you are using this data in an ethical way or not, that is still a huge concern over there. Okay, so this right to privacy is still remaining a subject of debate, because right to privacy, we can say that we have provided right to privacy, but we don't know, because we as a human have a tendency to have a different way of thinking. Okay, so that is why right to privacy is still again a debate, and there are a lot of concerns related to the role of the power. what is the power of the state government, how the state government can utilize that, what the DNA, how the agencies and at what level and how much level and how deeper they can go under this. Okay, this is again a issue which has to be addressed by the DNA technology regulation bill. Okay, so here what exactly we can do in order to prevent all these activities. Now, what exactly we can do in order to enhance this DNA technology regulation bill? Okay, so we can utilize or we can balance the utility and privacy. Like how we can make a balance out of utility, that means we can utilize it properly, and also we can maintain the privacy of somebody. Okay, so strict regulation has to be there in the criminal investigation system, then only we will be able to properly protect the privacy of the individual. So whenever any request for DNA profiling is coming, there has to be legitimate reason has to be given if we wanted to really safeguard and prevent the misuse about or abuse of DNA data. Okay, legitimate reason, and from the higher authority it has to become by proper channels. Okay, from proper channels has to become, so that it can be made sure that that is needed for that purpose. Okay, then we can do much more enhanced oversight and accountability. Okay, so lot of confidentiality measure has to be there in order to prevent the unauthorized access to that. Okay, oversight mechanism has to be there because we wanted to keep it ethically, and legal has to be produced in a proper way. So in the DNA collection, in the DNA analysis and the DNA storage has to be done to the utmost important, to the utmost secure environment. Okay, then only we can enhance our oversight and we can properly provide better accountability to this whole process. Then we have a public awareness and participation, because government has to make sure that and has to take the public has to be taken into confidence. Okay, we need to educate citizens about the implication of this DNA technology, and government has to make sure that the people should know their rights regarding collection of the data, because in India most of the people who do not know this technology or many technology, they should get totally they just totally go unnoticed regarding this whole process, and people may try to misuse their data and they might take their DNA sample without their concerns. Okay, so there is a need for public awareness and participation in this whole process. Then those people who are being stakeholder in this whole process, that is police, government, people, law enforcement agencies are there, they should have their own policy, they should formulate. Okay, for this whole process, right? The way we have a policy for narco test, the way we have a policy for narco test, that we needed court permission to do the narco test. Similarly, for the usage of the DNA, we have to move forward and we have to make sure that at least they should get the court permission only for the utilization of the DNA. So this will help in promotion of the transparency, and also the concerns will be solved. Okay, so this is regarding DNA technology and regulation bill law 2019. Now the last topic that we wanted to discuss today is National Biotechnology Development Strategy. Okay, so Department of Biotechnology came up with a strategy in 2007. Okay, that is called biotech strategy. Okay, so how we are going to utilize the biotechnology at various fields. So after that we came with two important documents. One is biotechnology development strategy of 2015 to 20, and then we have a biotechnology strategy from 21 to 2025. So right now National Biotechnology Development Strategy 21 to 25, that is going on. Okay, so there is a vision that they have taken. Like, we know that biotechnology provides us with a premier precision tool which we can utilize. So we have already discussed in these two lectures that how biotechnology can help and for the well-being of the society. Okay, so we wanted to make India competitive in research, innovation and entrepreneurship activity, and wanted India to be a $150 billion bio economy by 2025 in the field of technology. So there are four important goals that they have selected. Yes, we have to build and strengthen our whole education system, research and translation ecosystem throughout the country. We have to make sure that support our education, support our research and development over. So this is how the first goal and objective that we are having. Then we wanted to put India as a global player, like USA, America are these, Europe are being part of the global player. So we wanted to put India also as a global player in this field of biotechnology. Okay, then since we have even started and startup policies are coming in India, we have around 89,000, more than 89,000 startups are coming. Some are mostly in the field of biotechnology. We wanted to nurture a vibrant startup ecosystem and entrepreneurs. Similarly, investment has to be rooted to all these places, and we wanted to increase our industrial base for the same. Okay, and so this will only happen when we have a proper connection between the industries and academia properly. Okay, and then we have to have a strong bio manufacturing hub in our country. Okay, we have a Serum Institute of Technology is there, which have created COVID-19 vaccine. Okay, we have a Biocon is there. We have a very innovative and strong manufacturing hubs they are creating. Okay, they are creating innovative tools. They are also providing affordable vaccines and everywhere. Okay, so we don't want to be only vaccine maker. We have to be part of each and every wherever the biotechnology is working. Okay, so that we can become the global leader in this whole areas. Okay, so here, these are some of the strategies that we are focusing on to improve this whole area. So how we can properly support our national biotechnology development strategy? First of all, we have to build the capacities. Like, capacity building means skilled workforce. We will be needing more and more people who will be working in this areas of biotechnology, so that we will have a state of the art infrastructure. At the same time, we will have a skilled man force over here. Okay, then we have a Unnati Biotech mission is there. Okay, we are aligning with global, national and global priorities. Okay, Unnati, if I wanted to tell you, it is undertaking national relevant technology innovation, Atal Jay Anusandhan Biotech mission. Okay, so under that, what exactly we are trying to do? Garbh Ini. Okay, so this mission is to promote maternal and child health care. Okay, then End CPI. Okay, mission to develop affordable vaccines. Then Poshan Abhiyan, like biofortification, I told you regarding that. Mission for antimicrobial resistance for proper diagnostic and therapeutic uses. Clean energy mission for Swachh Bharat mission. So under Atal Jay Anusandhan Biotech mission, that is called Unnati mission, we are focusing in all these areas. Then building a self-reliant India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, focuses on all the technologies, homemade domestic technologies, domestic intervention, so that we will be able to produce affordable and accessible products. Okay, then leveraging the strength of strategic partner. Okay, those who are the strategic partner, maybe the foreign countries are there, maybe research and development institutions are there, whether national or international. We have to leverage their help with the help of their the national and international company, the government or companies or institutions. We have to collaborate strategically and strengthen our whole process. Then we have to focus on future, that we have to leverage, and we have to find out like what exactly we needed for our future, and we need to build our knowledge database in order to, for the like whatever the things that will be coming in the future, we will be able to properly address it. Okay, then how the science can reach and address the last mile person. Okay, how it can help the last mile person or last mile connectivity, that especially focuses on the rural area. Then how you can build the public trust, that is we have to have a outreach programs and communication with everybody. Okay, and quality products, quality benchmarking and performance measurement has to be there, so that we will be building a very important and very good quality product out of all these things. And whatever is needed to support these things, we should have a policy enabler. Policy enabler means we have created a policy, like how and what things will be needed in order to work this policy properly. Okay, so these are called policy enabler. That means resources are we are having, whether we are having institutions, whether we are having total outreach programs. So these are all called policy enablers. Okay, so Jal Anusandhan Biotech Unnati Mission we have discussed. So our key strengths, what are our key strengths that are there that we have to discuss first? Our key strength is large reservoir of scientific human resource that are there. We have large amount of scientists and engineers that are there in our country. That is the first strength that our country is having. Okay, and we are having cost effective manufacturing capability. We know we have special economic zones, various industrial zones, biotech parks are there. So we have around 3000, close to 3500 biotech startups are there in our country. Okay, large number of national and research laboratories are there. Center like we have CSIR is there. Okay, we have IISCs is there, we have IIT is there, we have NITs are there, we have AIMS is there, right? All these research laboratories are there, which are called as Center for Academic Excellences. Okay, we have even developed biotech park, which are working as special economic zones, which are providing a seamless entry and exit to the companies. Okay, several universities, professional college, educational institutions are there, which are working, which are providing a lot of degree courses. We have BTechs, we have BTech in biotechnology, we have diploma in the biotechnologies, bioinformatics and biological sciences, right? We have our own pharmaceutical and drug discovery company. Serum Institute is there, we have a Biocon is there, right? And obviously India has a rich biodiversity, so we can have a very rich pool of genes. Okay, we will be having a very rich pool of gene pool will be there, which will be providing much more opportunities for research basis. Okay, South Asian countries. Okay, then obviously we have a fast developing clinical capabilities are there. We can see that within a year times only we are able to develop COVID-19 vaccine. Okay, and we have even supplied this COVID-19 vaccine throughout the world. Okay, so these are our key strengths are there. Then we however need to focus on certain things. Okay, partnership has to be made much more stronger. Okay, or ज़्यादा we have to make the partnership much more stronger of industry and academia. Okay, risk capital has to be increased, so we need much more risk capital. Okay, over here. Then R&D expenditure has to increase by the industry if we really wanted to become leader, and if we wanted to make our country a $150 billion bioeconomy. Okay, so research and commercialization all has to be collaborated. That means the research has to be done in those area which have a commercial application. Okay, so that we can try to commercialize the project and generate the revenue out of it. Okay, at the same time the quality has to be further improved as per the international standard. It is not like that we can produce any product of any quality. Okay, this has to be international standard, and we can become internationally acceptable then, right? We can become internationally acceptable, and we should make sure that our educational curriculum has to align and student has to be prepared based on industry demand. Okay, so the curriculum has to be updated as and whenever any new things has to be added over there. Okay, so that is why we need to create a state of the art research facility and various type of centers, right? So this is all for today, guys. I hope all of you have understood the paper things, and we will be coming out with the new lecture in the new classes. So thank you so much. I'll be seeing you in the next class. Thank you.